Where you chop up your Yale, your special nose candy, the stuff that makes you happy, whatever. You know, your morning breakfast in the bathroom. For this video, we are at the workbench. So the paint is, well, the clear coat is still curing. As of right now, it's been 5 days. The way I tell, it's still kind of soft. It's kind of like putting my thumbnail on. If it leaves a mark, then it's still kind of soft, which it did. Am I in the shadow? Anyways, so maybe in about 2 more days, we'll be polishing this up. But in the meantime, I'm gonna go work on some hardware, some stuff here, the floating bridge, or do some upgrades. But to start this one off, we're gonna do some fret polishing. And if you can see, boy, these frets are kind of filthy. Good thing is they're as far as their condition, they're not bad, as in they don't have really any wear marks or unlevelness. So, you know, don't really have to deal with that. They're just filthy looking. They look oxidized and dull looking. So we're going to polish them up. But we're not going to go use one of those fancy polishing setups where it looks like a spatula with a groove in it. Honestly, I think that's kind of pointless. Your frets are metal. You're polishing metal. It's basically that thing there is so you don't mess up the wood. Well, this works just as fine. So we're gonna do this on a budget. First thing I'm gonna do is we're gonna tape this up. I'm gonna just do a section at a time. You can use blue tape. This is fine because I'm only gonna do a few and just pull them off. And afterwards, I'm gonna do some cleaning and some oiling of the fretboard anyways. But to begin, we'll just do this step right here, and this is the polish that I'm going to use. I'm going to use some good old Mother's Magnet aluminum polish. This stuff is great for anything metal. I even played with aluminum wheels once, and I made them look like chrome by just doing this by hand. So what I'm going to do is, like I said, tape up the frets, and then use a little bit of 1500 grit sandpaper and just kind of clean off the gunk. And then what I'll show you is you can do it by hand, but I'm just going to go ahead and, you know, use a Dremel type of tool, kind of speed things up. So let me get all set up here and we'll get to work. Okay. First thing to do is to mask off a few of the frets, just because the abrasive, well, you don't want to scratch it with the sandpaper, and the abrasiveness of the stuff can also scratch up your frets. So we're just going to go ahead, mask a few of these off. Like so. Like so. And I'm using like the 1-inch tape for here. But when it comes down to here, let's say the fine frets, you know, just go right up to the edge on one. What I like to do is I'll take, you know, like these type of razor blades, you know, the kind where you chop up your Yale, your special nose candy, the stuff that makes you happy, whatever, you know, your morning breakfast in the bathroom. Just, you know, take your fingernail, rub it on the other edge of the fret. And what I like to do is I carefully hold it with the handle side out, you know, the rounded edge, but without cutting yourself here. I take it and kind of like press here. What I like to do is I like to, you know, like press it in right up against the edge, so it makes it nice and tight. And then just cut in between the groove. right up along the fret. And there you go. And then you can use the leftover piece of tape and, you know, get the other edge. So basically you'll just do that for how many. But we're gonna start up here first. Just do a few frets at a time. Should do is have something to keep that a little bit stable. Yeah, that's better. Don't want to put it much pressure on here because you snap your neck. Snap your finger, snap your neck. So, I think this will be enough to get going. Now, so I'm going to take a piece of 1500, small piece, so I'm not wasting a whole sheet. You know, this stuff can be pricey. Basically, all I need is just, you know, a little bit of that. And then I'll just take that a little bit and fold it in three, so I got like a little 1-inch square. And there you just, you know, sand it. Anything from 1,000 on higher is safe to do this. Anything lower than that, you could possibly end up reshaping your frets. This is basically just to clean it up. Even just doing this right here is actually giving it a shine by itself. I can actually see the difference. And I'm trying to get all around best as I can, not just the top of the fret, but also on the edge of it. So in this demonstration, I'm going to be doing these 3 frets because I don't have tape over here. If you couldn't figure that out, then I don't know what the hell is your problem. I mean, even like I said, this step right here is actually cleaning it up pretty well. It's actually kind of shiny. If you can see compared to this one and this one. So, well, we're gonna go a step farther. Now, I like to use like an old sock or something, or just any rag, whatever. Mother's is so great because you can just use a tiny, tiny amount. I mean, like really. Basically, like a burger size is plenty per fret. So I'll take it and, you know, work it on whatever. You can just, you know, you can do this with just, you know, by hand. It doesn't take much. Even with using Mother's is great stuff because it's very abrasive. So that's why it's great for metal. But I will not do it on a wood surface or a painted surface. Then it'll just scratch the shit out of it because it is very abrasive. Then get a second rag, something actually better and cleaner. I got a microfiber. You don't have to be a microfiber, just something clean. Just kind of clean it off. And right there, look at that. That's done. This one is nice and shiny. But I'm gonna go have a little bit of fun because I have the ability to. I'm gonna use one of these. So, again, you know, put on some compound, some of this Mother's compound polish. I'm going to turn this on, set it to a lower speed, just because I can, and just start going to town. I can go probably a little higher. I mean, I really don't even have to use this thing, just seeing what I did right there. But heck, why not? The other thing about this dumb thing too, it wants to shut off sometimes. Oh, that's mirror finish right there. That's mirror finish. I'm like, clean up. Yeah, that's all it takes. You don't need the fancy kit. You can get this stuff, you know, at any local place whatsoever. So these ones are done. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and, you know, tape it all up and just do them all at once. So I'm going to get some music set up for me so I can get in the groove. I'm going to play me some Alice in Chains, enjoy myself on that while you hate life dealing with one of these time lapses.
Wrong, stupid time lapse.
So let's look at this. The frets are all polished up, and as you just saw, I also cleaned it with some orange glow wood finish. You know, basically you don't really need all that fancy pantsy expensive guitar, you know, fretboard conditioner, polish, all that stuff. A lot of that stuff is the same as this stuff that you can get at Home Depot, Walmart, or wherever. Stuff you probably already have in your house. They just repackage it and say guitar special stuff only, when chemically it's the same shit that you probably already have. So basically for your woods, you know, actually on your fretboard, you can actually, what I would rather have, I just didn't have any of this stuff, works fine, but I'd use the Murphy's wood oil. A few coats of that, it'll absorb in, and, you know, and it'll actually, you know, moisturize it. And, you know, you don't want your fretboard to get really dry, because it could end up cracking. Even uses on the back too. I've always actually cleaned and polished my guitars with simple furniture polish, because it doesn't, like, you don't want to use this stuff to polish, like, you know, paint work and stuff, because it's got fine granules in there or something. It's very abrasive. It's really good for metal, of course, because it's harder to scratch metal than it would on paint. And, you know, so but as like using furniture polish, it's basically just, it's liquid, so you won't scratch anything. But yes, the stuff is great on the fretboard, and you don't, like I said, you don't need that stupid little thing where you got to hold in there with one hand and work with the other. You know, just use some masking tape. Done deal. So that's really all it is. I mean, you can just see how the light reflects off the fret. So this thing is really nice and shiny. So that's basically what I'm going to do on this. I may just put, you know, a couple more coats of the orange glow on the fretboard to help clean it up. This thing's been in its case for years, so might as well just give it a little bit more, and just so that way it has something to do while this stuff is still curing. Another thing we're going to do next is, since we're kind of on the neck, is deal with the hardware and stuff, you know, clean them up. All these white spots is just really from the splatter from the polishing. But these things have actually been in here for haven't been cleaned for a long time. So it's just simple little wax degreaser will get all the gunk off. I already went through and kind of did all of them. I even cleaned all this one up. But the one thing I haven't showed you is, since it's you know, these things are, let me set this down here. These things, you know, they're a moving part. It's got a little gear in there. These tuning keys are over 20 years old. So, and it is, like I said, it's a moving part. So what's I think is a good idea is to take like something like 3-in-1 oil, which is a very, you know, it's a very thin oil, great stuff to use on a lot of, you know, on electrical, just, you know, very fine little motors, or just very, you know, anything moving part, whatever. I got a little, it kind of already came out. So what I went through and did the rest of them, other than this one, is just put like a little drop on the inside, like so. Very little. And then just go ahead and, you know, put the parts back on. So I'm going to screw this all the way down so it kind of forces its way down into the gear. Some of it's going to come back up and through like it already is, and then just, you know, give it a few turns, lube that gear up. So I'll probably give it another 20 more years of life right there. So let me clean the oil, the excess oil off this guy. You know, even though it still feels the same, but, you know, it's a moving part. These things can get corrosion through time, and, you know, it just kind of prevents it from seizing up. So all of these are basically already done, other than just the little gunk that splattered on it from doing this fret polishing. And so just a little wipey do on those, and then the next stuff's done.